Today, I'm giving you a public speaking quick start guide to help you ace your next presentation. Okay, the first point, don't wing it, but do prepare talking points. Unless you're really great at impromptu speaking and know how to speak off the cuff, don't wing it. If you know you're going to speak, prepare a few key talking points that you'd like to say. Familiarize yourself with the content, and this way, you're not only looking at your paper, you're looking at the audience. Talking points will give you the flexibility to speak more naturally, so you're not going to sound rehearsed or robotic. Don't read off your script, but do have an outline with bullet points. It's very easy to get lost in a sea of typed out words on a piece of paper. And the last thing you want to be is lost when public speaking to a crowd of people. The best way to overcome the temptation of reading off of your script is to have an outline with bullet points instead. Write down your hook and your closing if you would like, but only if you're not going to read off your paper. If you're going to be tempted to read that off your paper, then just don't do it. The best thing really to do is to familiarize yourself with the content of your talk or your speech and practice with your bullet point outline. And in the bullet point outline, just include the essential keywords that are going to trigger your memory so that you know what you're going to say and what you're going to talk about. Don't avoid making eye contact. Do look at the audience. It's very easy to avoid making eye contact, particularly if you're nervous about public speaking. But the truth is that your nervousness will actually decrease if you make eye contact with the audience. Why? Because humans are social creatures by nature. We are hardwired this way. Eye contact establishes an immediate social connection, a bond, if you will. So making eye contact establishes rapport and a sense of closeness to the audience. Also, in American culture, even when speaking to one or two people in social interaction, looking someone in the eye is the polite thing to do, and it's expected. If you avert someone's gaze, they might find it evasive or rude or like you're trying to hide something. The same rules apply to public speaking. So single out a few people in the audience just at random to really lock eyes with just for a few seconds. Make a point and then move on to someone else and lock eyes with them just for a few seconds. Do this throughout your talk or your speech, just naturally. Avoid just staring out into the crowd and floating your gaze sort of above the heads of the audience members without really looking anyone in the eye, because it's not a personal connection that you're establishing. And more often than not, they will notice that. So be mindful. Don't lock your knees. Do keep a slight bend. So locking your knees will actually cause you to tense up your body, and that signals to your brain that you're tense and you're nervous, and even more so than you actually might be. So locking your knees could also throw you off balance. Instead, what you want to do is keep a slight bend in your knees, almost like you're bouncy. And then you want to place one foot slightly in front of the other in what we call a staggered stance, and that will prevent you from swaying. Because if your feet are just next to each other without staggering, what you might end up doing is swaying, and that will be super distracting for the audience, right? So you should definitely avoid the temptation to sway. Even though it feels nice to you, it's going to be highly distracting to the audience, and they won't be able to pay attention to what you're saying. So we don't want that to happen. Don't stand still. Do use hand gestures. Standing still is boring, and the audience will surely fall asleep. Instead, you want to animate your speech or your talk by incorporating hand gestures that match the words that you are expressing. This will really help drive home the point that you're trying to make. Just be careful not to overuse hand gestures because the audience might find that a bit distracting, the way to think about hand gestures is just really you want to use them for emphasis. All right, don't get stuck to the podium. Do pace the stage. Sometimes you might get tempted to hide behind the podium because it might feel safer and less scary. But the truth is that it's very hard to see the speaker from the podium because you're really not getting the full picture of the speaker. And it's even harder for the speaker, for you to establish rapport with the audience from the podium. So if you're given a podium, they might set it up at the beginning of your talk, then you can start there if you want, or you can just set your water bottle down there and maybe a couple notes and maybe a pen, whatever bits and bops you might have on you, place them there. And if you really are committed to using the podium for whatever reason you feel inclined to do so, then what you can do is give your hook and your opening from there and then move around. But honestly, trust me when I say that if you instead ditch the podium from the get-go and pace around the stage and move around freely, you'll have way more fun, one, and two, the audience will enjoy your talk that much more. So pacing the stage actually gives you the opportunity to address all corners of the room and pay attention to all audience members so they feel like they're getting your attention equally. It's not just that you're focused on one part or one section of the audience and then not paying attention to the other audience members in the room. So you're paying attention to all audience members. Also, moving around helps you keep those nerves at bay. So be prepared to move around and have your notes on a single sheet of paper if you're not using note cards. And if you're using a single piece of paper, just have it in the form of an outline because this will give you the most flexibility as you won't be rummaging through pages and pages of your speech or note cards. And then the audience will be waiting with bated breath, right? So we want to be mindful of really just keeping our outline to that one piece of paper with the bullet points so that you can more freely and more easily move around and pace the stage. That'll give you the ultimate flexibility. All right, don't speak in monotone, do vary intonation. So monotone speaking is a surefire way to put the audience to sleep. So unless your aim is to make them fall asleep and have some nap time, avoid monotone. Monotones are also very boring to listen to, right? Instead, you want to vary the intonation in your voice. You can also play around with the pacing and the pausing for added effect. So making your voice more melodious by adding variance to your tones will actually help your audience stay engaged and focused. They'll pay more attention to what you say because of how wonderfully you're saying it. Don't strain your vocal cords. Do speak from the diaphragm. Whether or not you have a microphone during your speech, you don't want to speak from your throat. This will certainly strain your vocal cords within a matter of a few minutes of talking. So instead, you want to speak from the diaphragm. And this takes training. So to become accustomed to this way of speaking, it's really important to first practice breathing correctly. The way you can tap into the power of your breath is by engaging the diaphragm. That is your powerhouse. And that is known specifically as diaphragmatic breathing. You will speak way more loudly and clearly when you speak from the diaphragm. And the best part is your voice won't shake or quiver or squeak as you speak. Awesome, right? All right, so that is your quick start guide to public speaking. Whether you're gearing up for your first speech or your 1000th speech, these strategies will help you deliver a successful speech that you're proud of. And hopefully you'll also have fun in the process of preparing the talk, practicing the talk, and as well as enjoying your time in front of a live audience. Practice these strategies and make them your own and add them to your communication toolkit. All right, Explearners, that is it for me today. For more public speaking lessons, we have loads of lessons. So do check out our playlist because we have a lot of content there that can help you out, help you give a great talk, help you deliver your speech confidently. And also share it with anyone, share this lesson and share that playlist and our channel with anyone who you think would benefit from communication strategies, public speaking skills, social strategies. And don't forget to subscribe and turn the notification bell on so that you don't miss a beat here at Explearning. All right, I will see you in the next one. Happy Explearning.